Okay, folks, I've been playing Civilization for about 2 hours, and I've had a series of very bad games, all because I made a lot of dumb decisions with the things that I was doing. I was basically experimenting with a bunch of different things regarding Gilgamesh and his unique abilities, and I messed up, okay? I made a lot of bad plays, but I have an idea, and this idea is going to bring me victory. Here's what we're gonna do. Mining, and then the wheel. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my campaign with the Zulu was not building any heavy chariots. Because normally in the deity difficulty, the heavy chariot gets completely steamrolled by every other classical era unit in the game. It is an ancient era unit, so it doesn't get boosted up by great generals, which is a big issue, and overall it doesn't stack up with the other units that the AI has because of the additional 4 combat strength they have on the deity difficulty. Now, all of that stuff kind of changes with the unique benefits that we have with Genghis Khan. If we send somebody a trade route, we get extra combat strength, and all our horse units, or better yet, all the horse units that we can make in the game have additional combat strength for the simple fact that they belong to us. So, the heavy chariot should be a very, very powerful tool when dealing with enemy civilizations. So, as soon as we make contact with another civ, the heavy chariots are going to start pumping out, and they're going to pump out hard and fast, and it's going to be a massacre, basically. So we're going to do as much exploring as possible, and we'll try and get a settler out. It's going to take a while because our population isn't the greatest. Our population, see, I've been playing too long. I'm going to get tongue-tied a lot today. Our production isn't the greatest, but we can shift over and try and improve that just a tiny bit because we have a horse tile to work. Already found someone. So Poland is going to be the first ones that we try to eliminate. We got to make sure to find their cities so we can send the trade routes to the correct ones. So we'll continue pushing forward. And also this warrior will explore in the back lines. Ah, there it is. There's their city. So with Code of Laws, I always put in Discipline first and God King. Discipline just in case we find barbarians, which is very likely. I mean, there's already a barbarian right next to our city, which we should probably deal with, but I'm going to continue exploring, pretend he's not there. He's probably going to pillage everything while I'm not at home. This is why you got to lock your doors, people, and have a guard stationed in all of your fields, because the barbarian scouts will come and burn your farms just for laughs, because they get nothing from it. They do it for fun. And because it makes you angry. Next up, our civic research is going to go for foreign trade, so we get the trade route as quickly as possible. And that's about the gist of it for our early game strategy. It's just about getting those trade routes up and building as many heavy chariots as humanly possible within the first, I want to say, 50 turns.
Sometimes the wheel turns slowly. But it turns.
Alright, and just like that, we finished research on the wheel. And we're already starting to get forward settled a little bit by Poland, and of course I'm settling too close to them, even though they're spanning forward in my direction, so whatever. By the way, I did check on something. You can actually send the AI a message telling them not to settle too close to you, but I don't have that ability right now. If I can find a clip of how that works, and I'll show you. But it is possible for me to tell them to get the hell out of my land and stop coming too close to my property. But I can't believe it took so many hours for me to learn that that was an actual thing that I could do, because all this time I've just been kind of taking that on the chin. But I wonder if the AI would even really listen to the demand to not settle too close to your territory. I doubt they really would. Because the AI in Civilization VI, I hate to say that it's terrible, but it's pretty damn awful. I mean, it's not the greatest, to put it lightly. It's cops outside. I'll wait. You know what I'll say about the Civ AI? Because I don't want to bash the game for no reason. I mean, there's plenty of reasons that you could bash Civilization VI, but I like this game a lot, so I don't think I want to go down that road. I think the main issue with the Civilization VI AI, and a lot of AIs in general, is that you either have to code them to be perfect and never make mistakes, or you have to give them a lot of special benefits to where they can challenge you despite the fact that they're morons. And they've done the latter with Civilization, and in For Honor, they go down the road of making the AI in some fashion perfect. A lot of the enemy bots will 100% dodge all of your attacks no matter how many times you try to mix them up or confuse them. And then there are other bots that always fall for the same kind of mistakes, and you can basically just game the system a little bit. And Civilization, they've gone down the route of making the AI have so many bonuses to production and yields that they are competitive early on, but they're dumb as a doornail. As soon as you get a good foothold, there's basically nothing they can do to stop your superior human brain and strategy. And you know, but the weird thing about it is that Civ is still a lot of fun despite that, right? There's never been a time when I've been playing Civ when I thought to myself, man, the AI is so dumb that I'm not enjoying myself. Which is a bit strange, you know, because having an intelligent AI definitely would benefit the game tremendously if they played a little bit more like a human, if they had a better script for district placement for the AI, because they're especially with World Wonder placement. Don't even get me started on the AI building Petra in a city that has one freaking desert tile in which they use to place Petra on top of, which means the city has literally 0 desert tiles in it. Boggles my mind. But you know, overall though, I think what it is with Civ and the AI being kind of dumb as a doornail is they get around it by having an overall positive experience with the game. Like, all the other elements of the game work well together.
Skill without imagination is craftsmanship, and gives us many useful objects, such as wickerwork picnic baskets.
And on that note, probably another thing that helps Civilization have so much longevity is the community surrounding the game. The Reddits and the forums are generally a positive place. Obviously, you have people venting their opinions about the AI and things of that nature, but you also have a very huge majority of the game's community just enjoying the game and having a good time in spite of or despite the issues. And I just realized I'm at turn 24 and I have not researched animal husbandry. So I must have lost my damn mind or something, because that's on the #1 list of things to do when you're playing as Genghis Khan. Get your damn horses online. So that's a little bit silly of me, but it's fine. I think we'll be okay, because we're not building any units that require horses yet, nor do we have the capability to. So we found our 3rd city, and I suppose it's time for us to rename a couple more of them. Petra will be mine. Is that city? I don't want to say it's an omen, but it's kind of an omen. I'm going to have Petra in this city. This other city over here, we'll call it the Front. They're going to take the brunt of the assault when the AI inevitably declares war on me, which is most likely going to come pretty soon. So, since we do have 3 pretty solid cities, I think it's time for us to start producing military units and spending our whatever extra gold we have on builders. I suppose I'll produce 1 more builder in the city of Victory, and he'll be used to improve these tiles that we have that need improvements. And the purchased builder will kind of fill in the gaps where they need to be filled in. Alright, now moving right along, we finished animal husbandry so we can start improving all of the horses that we have in our empire. We actually have access to 3 different horse tiles, which is pretty awesome. Usually I don't have... It's either I don't have horses or I don't have iron. Those are the main things that end up screwing me over in Civilization. So next up, we're going to go for archery, bronze working, then horseback riding. That should set us up pretty solid for very powerful early game war. I think what I'm going to end up doing is probably churning out one more settler and filling in this empty space right here. Probably going to put the city right in this spot where we've got stone that we can chop down. We got elephants pretty close by, and also dyes in a long time after the expansion. I don't plan on purchasing any tiles anytime soon for this city. And after we do the expansion, or you know, while the expansion is going on, we'll start work on an encampment and whatnot. Because I'm gonna, like I was mentioning at the end of the previous sessions, is I want to be very tactical about how I do this war, and I want to make sure that I am pressing my advantages as best as possible. And the biggest advantage for Genghis Khan: horses and a quick victory. So I don't necessarily want to go for a heavy chariot rush, but the heavy chariot that I'm building right now, that's really just for defense. If I do get attacked by Poland, I'll at least have a powerful unit that I could use to defend myself. And my goodness, Barbarian Slinger coming to steal my builder. I'm never gonna get to improve this tile at this rate. I'll just start work on a campus. And you know what, I'll send a warrior up there to deal with that situation, because it's not going to get any better by ignoring it. We've got to take action. Now, one thing that's vitally important with Genghis Khan, that's even more so than with other civs, this is something that you should always do, but min-maxing the boosts that you get on your technologies. You can't do it enough with this guy, because we need every single second that we can get, because the longer we delay our massive horseman advance, the Mongol horde, then the bigger the likelihood that the AI will out-tech us or just have way too many units for us to deal with. So military tradition is 3 turns away from completion, and it has yet to be boosted. So in the previous turn, I shifted over to early empire. Taking this barbarian encampment should complete the tech. No, it did not. Left it with just a tiny sliver remaining, so we'll finish that whenever we really need it. Which I suppose is now, because we are starting to churn out heavy chariots. I'm going to build probably 3 of them. So, unfortunately, that little sliver is super annoying. That's 1 pixel of culture that we needed, but overall, it's fine. Gonna chop down some trees in Victory City. I'm gonna rename it to Victory City, because I'm always gonna call it that. And I'm gonna start work on a campus. Now, it does feel a little bit odd for me to be building a campus as my first district instead of an industrial zone. Instead of a barracks. But I feel like the extra science will be beneficial, and we should have enough space, especially in the front, to build the barracks when we have the technology, which will be relatively soon.
It was a fantastic landscape, for all around were rocks of the weirdest forms standing in apparently impossible positions, some placed on or next to others in ways that seemed to defy every law of gravity.
Yeah, that's beautiful. This is, I believe, that's very beautiful. I believe this is a new natural wonder that got added with the Rise and Fall expansion pack. Can't see much of it, but it's very tempting for me to go on a conquest just so I can take advantage of the city that's been built near this world wonder, which I believe is giving science and faith to the nearby tiles. That's pretty powerful. Oh, you know, another thing that I kind of always neglect is the delegation process, because having diplomatic visibility, while it's always somewhat important, isn't crucial to the gameplay of other characters. So, Germany just sent me a delegation. I'm going to send him one in return. And he accepted it. So that extra diplomatic visibility is going to help us conquer him when the time comes. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, we got into a normal age, and I'm going to put on the free inquiry as our dedication, so we get an error score every time we trigger a Eureka or build a building with a base yield of science. And wouldn't you know it, we're working on 2 campus districts right now. So that's going to make it very easy for us to get into a golden age for the next run. And a lot of people say that the meta strategy is to go into a dark age as your first age and make sure you get a heroic age for the second go around, because you get more dedications that way. But that's a tricky thing to do, especially if you're considering going to war early on, because the loyalty mechanic will screw you over in ways you can't even imagine if you are in a dark age. I mean, the city that you capture it basically won't even get captured. It'll just, you'll walk in it and you'll click keep the city and it'll just turn into a free city instantly. It's not that fast, but you get the idea. And it's actually quite frustrating. So I think it's going to be for the better that we are in a normal age at the very least, and maybe even by the time we start attacking, we'll be in a golden age. Now, we have the opportunity now to select our first governor, and really, there's no one in particular that I want, but I guess Pangala would be pretty useful for increasing our science coming in to the city of Petra will be mine, since this one has a campus next to 2 mountains, so we may as well boost that up as much as we possibly can. And he's also got some other great policies for increasing production and science yields and library building production. He's a very great governor. I think he's maybe a little bit underrated because of how overall ridiculous Magnus can be.